And welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. We are ready to get a move on and land on Moho. So that'll be kind of interesting. Now, we're going to do our normal routine and plant the flag on Elu. Do our normal routine and see if we can maybe get a contract for something on Moho. Temperature, yeah. Now the only Easter egg on Moho is they call it the Mohole. It's a terrain glitch at the North Pole that's just a big spike-shaped hole in the ground. It's not really a deliberate Easter egg. It's a terrain glitch, so I'm really not going to bother with that. We're just going to go plant the flag and do our thing, and I'm going to repurpose our Elu mission because it's already built and already ready. And we know that it works. It worked relatively well. So we're gonna repurpose this with one small exception. I'm gonna go through and Moho's gravity, if memory serves, is a little bit more significant than Elu. So I'm gonna give this a slightly larger tank. And I think it's edit fairing. There we go. All right. And so now we gotta stick this way back up there to make sure that we're not clipping through the ground. Okay. All right, we're gonna call this the Moho mission. All right, now who is going to Moho? Well, here's a 3-star pilot who needs to go. And I guess we'll take Bill and Bob. Why not? I don't think we strictly need a pilot. Well, no, we might. Yeah, sorry, Bill. You're going to have to stay home, and we're going to send Reyes. All right. Now, Moho is kind of an interesting one. It's harder than you might think, both to get there and to land. It's extremely close to the sun, which does end up taking a significant amount of delta V to get to. It's on a weird orbit. It's small, so the intercept isn't easy. And it's got higher gravity than you think it might based on its size. All right, so let's see if I can remember what our trajectory is. All right, Kraken Insurance, and up we go. Oh, this is chunky. Yeah, this is a chunky one. I still think this came out looking nice. This is a good looking booster. It's just really big and chunky. All right, I'm going to start doing a little bit of a gravity turn. Not too hard. We're getting pretty gentle with it. I'm going to scale back on my liquid fuel throttle. Again, I just want to make sure that those Clydesdales run out of fuel well before our liquid fuel boosters. And the main reason for that is just how I've done the staging. Alright, we're on track, so we can slowly start to bring our liquid fuel throttle up a little bit. And again, those Clydesdales are literally just providing a little bit of extra thrust-to-weight ratio. Especially now where they've spent most of their solid fuel. The thrust-to-weight ratio on those things is really good. And that's kind of what we need during the early phase of a launch like this. With this chunky, oversized booster. Alright, almost time for SRB separation. Up we go. Again, I heard some kind of an explosion. Something collided somewhere, but I didn't seem to actually lose any parts. So I don't know what it was. I'm not going to worry about it, because everything seems to be still working. What could possibly go wrong with a random explosion during our ascent? It's all good. Alright, we are now at full throttle, of course, draining our liquid fuel boosters. And we will be staging out of those momentarily. And with luck, getting up above the Kármán line again. Nice. This ascent actually seems to be going relatively well. Alright, LFB separation. Man, that turned out good. I'm extremely happy with that. Alright. So now we're just going to burn straight horizontal, going to circularize our orbit. Oh. And as soon as we're actually in space in another moment here, we'll ditch our fairing, which is basically dead weight. That's close enough. Because the fairing on some of these larger rockets can be substantial. And we're high enough up where, even if we weren't at 70,000, atmospheric drag was no longer really a factor. Come on. Right, I'm going to risk doing a 1x warp. Thankfully, that big strut cage is working out pretty well. Excessive strutting like that really is the key to success sometimes in Kerbal Space Program. Alright, so we've got an apoapsis up around 150. We're just going to move up a little bit before we finish circularizing. And we are actually going to leave Kerbal from this trajectory, because you want to burn on the light side when you're going to a lower orbit. So we're getting there. Yeah, Moho's orbit is kind of funky. And we haven't gone there in quite a while. I think earlier in this career, we might have sent a probe there. But I haven't done a lot of Moho in a long time. Alright, now from here, I feel a little bit safer with Time Warp. And again, I'm going to do a not super efficient, but very easy and time-efficient method of getting the transfer. I'm just going to get out into orbit around the sun and create a maneuver node, drag it around the orbit until I find a place that'll actually, get us an intersect with Moho. The lazy way. Oh, come on. Doing this to me again? Remember that happened last time. It cost me a good amount of Delta V. Alright. Alright, so let me see... Let me see what we'll get. Maybe we'll get lucky. You never know. Let me see what we get if we just burn down here. Now, this is going to the inner part of Moho's orbit. So that would not be an especially good burn. And it's on exactly the wrong side. Alright. Let's see about over here. Again, not ideal. That's not bad. Get. Just playing around with this bit by bit, it can be a really tedious process. Trying to set up one of these intercepts. Alright, let's take a look. $62,000, that's it? That's pretty close. I'm surprised that's not an intercept. That's really close. And it's in a relatively good spot on Moho's orbit, too. Nope. Now I gotta try and get that back. Yeah, see, Moho's inclined And I kind of just want to... Let me see what it'll take here. Just to make this a bit easier, just to match the inclination. Oh, gosh, look at that. 1,000 delta V to match the inclination. It will make the intercept easier, though. So I think I'm going to bother. Because this mission has the delta V to spare, and that 1,000 delta V I don't even think is going to get us out of the Rhino stage. And again, in all this nuclear stuff, we're just overflowing with potential energy, so... That's part of the reason I reused this Elu mission. I expected this intercept to be really stupid. You know, it's not difficult, it's just really time-consuming to set up, and the delta V requirements get absurd. Come on. Rotate us back around. There we go. All right. Of course, we're staring directly into the sun because we're going to one of the inner planets, so that's always fun. Thank you for that. And again, the purpose of this inclination change is literally just to make our intercept a little bit easier. That is much closer. Alright, so now, let's just see what some of these maneuver nodes might look like. We're real close there. I kind of, look at that, 45, I kind of want to get on that trajectory and then just do another mid-course maneuver to correct it. Not ideal, not the most efficient, but again, you know, we've got significant delta V on this mission. So we can afford to be a little sloppy, which is kind of what I normally do. I was a little bit more careful with Elu. With that intercept, that was complete skill and brought us in on an extremely good inclination. Just on the first try. That was all skill. It was planned from the very beginning. Now, Moho, again, is it's another one that's a small target. And, you know, burning down into the sun is actually really difficult in terms of, like, delta V and everything. as you can see here. This is a 2000 Delta V burn. I mean, this is like, you know, it's like going out past Joule. It's pretty significant. A lot of people tend to underestimate what it's going to take to get to Moho, and find themselves a little surprised on their first mission. You know, I know it's tempting, like, and I did my first couple of times trying to play through KSP in the career mode. Back when it was the science mode was like the only game mode before they actually made the career mode with the contracts. I would try and go through and do the planets from like inner to outer. So I'd try and start with Moho when it was time for interplanetary missions. And that ended up being very difficult, and I soon realized it was a mistake to try and do Moho stuff before I got the nuclear engines. It wasn't impossible. I just had to really overbuild everything. It was a lot of hassle. And in my opinion, it was a bit more trouble than it was worth. Come on. Almost there. Oh, look at that. We got an intercept. That was total skill. That was complete skill that accomplished that. Now we're going to do... Alright, now this is tricky. I gotta try and remember... Right, so that's the Moho escape. So if we enter here... Yeah, we're on the wrong side of the planet. Alright, so I might be able to get this pretty close to an equatorial inclination. We're just on the wrong side of the planet. Not bad. Alright, and that'll be 144, 213. Ooh. That's actually not a lot of time. We're going to be coming through Moho very fast. So I'm gonna have to start a deceleration burn literally like as soon as we get there. Oh boy. Alright, well let's do our thing where we switch over to something else. And then switch back to our Moho landing mission. And then we'll get our time warp going. Okay. Now, the actual landing on Moho isn't too bad. You know, the same sort of generic design we've got should be fine. I added a little bit of extra fuel onto the descent stage just for a margin of safety. You know, we don't have to do a precision landing on Moho, but I seem to remember that Moho's gravity was a little bit stronger than I expected the last couple of times I went there. Yeah, we're going to be coming in real fast. Don't tell me we missed it. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, did the wrong time warp. Oh, man. All right, that could have actually ended up really bad. Oh, boy. Yeah, that was a user interface mistake. But so now we gotta burn off a whole bunch of this speed. Ah, stupid sun. We gotta burn off a whole bunch of the speed, and look at that. That's pretty close to an equatorial intercept. Not bad. That was total skill. We planned it that way again from the moment we launched. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward here. This deceleration burn is going to take quite a while. That is pretty close to an equatorial orbit. I gotta say, I'm okay with this. So I'm gonna bring this down to around 100,000 meters for our periapsis and apoapsis. And that's, again, just to make our landing a bit easier. And look at how much fuel and delta V we've used to get to this point. I mean, you know, this is comparable to Elu. You know, even considering we wasted about, what was it, almost 1,000 doing that inclination change. But, you know, this is a considerable amount of delta V. Because when you come into Moho, you know, you're very often going to be coming in really hot with a significant amount of speed to burn. Alright, so let me see about, I think it's this way is going to be. Hey, got it right this time. And I'm just spending a small amount of fuel to kind of circularize our orbit. There we go. That's not bad. We at 104.66. All right, it's a little hot on the periapsis. That's better. And we've still got like half an ounce of juice left, so that's good. Now, who's going down to land? Looks like it's going to be Elney. All right, Elney. Now, before that, of course, let's do some science. And Bob, you will get the honor of the first EVA around Moho. Congratulations. Now we'll grab some of this stuff. Yeah, you know, I could have sworn that I had sent a probe to Moho. but I'm not sure what happened to it. Maybe I just did a flyby. I honestly don't remember. Oh well. Oh, no, I know what it is. I don't... Yeah, there's my Moho probe. Yeah, I just didn't have them visible on the... Alright, anyway. Time to undock. Alright. Now, I do want to land on the light side, also known as instant death, way too close to the sun, you're going to melt as soon as you get out of the spacecraft side. But that's fine. That's fine. It's Kerbal Space Program. We can do really crazy things like that. Oh man. Yeah, and like just to be clear, like actually getting out onto the surface of Moho, this close to a star, like instant death, instant death. And if death was not instantaneous, like the radiation would cook you in like a minute. I mean, yeah, bad idea. But being Kerbal Space Program, we love bad ideas. So we're going to get nice and low. Now, this is the other challenging thing about Moho. Look at this terrain. This terrain is a mess, and it doesn't really get any better. I'm going to try and be aiming for like one of these craters up ahead here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I'm going to be trying to target like this area for my landing zone. But we'll see what happens. And we have, as you can see, we have a lot of Delta V to get rid of still. And we end up in a situation kind of similar to what happened on Tilo, where we have to burn all this Delta V quickly enough. Yeah, here's our crater. But I don't know if I'm gonna be able to slow down in time. Oh, come on. Yeah, we're going to be cutting it real close here. Hey, there's a little rock or something. Yeah, there's another one over there. There's a few of them around. I just hope we don't pancake. We could be in a pancake trajectory. Yeah, this doesn't look good. Okay. Alright, it looks a little better. It's going to be close. This is fine. This is fine. We're given a tiny, tiny amount of regular throttle to manage our descent. And use an RCS to bring it in gentle. And this is more than enough to get orbital again. So absolutely no worries there. I was a little worried. I was a little worried on our descent that we might not have the thrust to weight ratio, so I made the decision to cut into the lander a little bit sooner, and it worked out. We have landed on Moho, and we are slowly sliding down a hill. Alright, so let's get some of this. And again, this is all just going to transfer into money. Alright, and I'm going to crake in insurance. And I'm going to get out of the way so the lander doesn't come bump into me while I'm doing this stuff. Stop going down the hill! And, and we are toasty on Moho. Now, over there is one of those terrain features. I think, I'm not going to go bother to check it out, but I think it's just like a lava flow. Oh, actually, you know what else I wanted to do? I wanted to take all of this. Get that ladder up. All right, now before we slide down too far, and of course for these missions, literally like all I'm trying to do is plant the flag, so I'm not really doing like an extended science stay or anything like that. Yeah, and we've got plenty of Delta V left here, so absolutely no worries. I was a little worried on the descent, but now that we're on our way back up, this is fine. Now we'll just do our orbital rendezvous, which won't be too hard, because both of these are on a very similar inclination here. You know, that's why we tried to get ourselves down into a roughly equatorial orbit. It just makes this step a lot easier. Alright, it's not bad. I can work with that. Well, we planted a flag on Moho. How about that? So my objective, and kind of the part of the reason I'm sort of hustling here, and I'm going to fast forward through most of the trip home. I want to get to the first step in our landing on Eve. Now, you got to understand what happens with that. Eve has a significant portion of its surface covered by the explodium seas. It has, like, literal oceans of rocket fuel. So that's a thing that needs to be taken into account. And my goal is to send a Ceres probe to Eve with a whole bunch of little landers that are literally like just going to parachute down through the atmosphere and stuff. And use them Alright, here's the leap of faith. And we are already dead from radiation. And use those landers to scout landing zones. And, you know, we're going to be looking for a place to land that's relatively flat and is on dry land. So that's going to be pretty important. And I don't know if I'm going to have time. I'll probably at least have time to get that mission built. We'll see what happens. I don't want these episodes to go too long. All right, did I remember to get all that science? I did. Okay. All right. We are done with Moho. How about that? Now it is time to get home to Kerbal, which can be another somewhat tedious trip, but, you know, we have absolutely inappropriate amounts of Delta V, so we're fine. Oh, and of course, the other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be pre-positioning a Talos X to take advantage of a launch window and be waiting to pick up our crew member. Yeah, see, look at the difference that makes in Delta V. This is going to be like the worst intercept ever. Yeah, that's going to take way too much Delta V. Oh boy. Alright, well. And I'm just going to speed up this whole process. Alright, so I'm going to clip this part because it's just going to be 40 minutes of watching these numbers count down. I will be back in just a minute. Alright, so we're just about back into Kerbal after that ridiculously long burn. And coming in from Moho, we're probably going to be in another situation where we've got a pretty significant amount of Delta V we're going to need to burn off. But we have more than enough space, pun intended, in order to be able to actually do that. So this won't be any trouble at all. Right, 2600, that's not too bad. We're in our nuclear state, we're in our ion stage. So, we've got well over 10,000 Delta V. We're completely fine. And we'll go ahead and speed this part up, because this is just going to be retro burning, watching some numbers. Alright, so we've done a whole bunch of burn charge cycles. And we are bringing our orbit back around Kerbal down to something resembling a circularized orbit. And I'm not going to bother with trying to land on the light side or anything. I just want to get down as quick as possible because I want to build the probe mission to Elu for you guys and show you what's going to be going on with that. Oh, and I jettisoned the asparagus dead xenon tanks. So we're going to get our periapsis down a little bit, just inside the moon, just to make the burn a little bit quicker, to bring our apps down. Then we'll go back in and land on the night side, just for simplicity's sake. All right. We'll warp down in there. Come on. Okay. Now with the heat shield we've got, we can easily manage a re-entry from out beyond Minmus. But I like to, I like to get somewhere in this range inside of Minmus's orbit for a re-entry profile, just to be safe. Famous last words, watch us burn up and die. All right. And Kraken Insurance. Just getting our periapsis down to around 30,000 like we normally do. Okay, good enough. Now let's zip down here. And I'm not going to mess with the fast forward this time. Now, another thing I could have done, it's possible that by now, again, all this is pre-recorded. It's possible that by now someone will have commented. I could have done an arrow braking maneuver to, reduce my periapsis a bit. Reduce my apoapsis a bit. That's fine. I know. Alright, we have everything we need out of that stage. Yes. All right, time for our re-entry burn. Oh, our heat shield is already getting a little hot and smoky this high up. But keep an eye on our ablator. We started with 800. And, again, the whole point of an ablative heat shield is that this material will flake off and burn away, taking heat with it. And the idea is to transfer the heat into the burned away parts of the ablative heat shield. It will ablate away without transferring that heat into the rest of the vehicle there. So that's the idea behind an ablative heat shield, in case it wasn't really ever obvious. And looks like we're coming in, near the south, over on the western desert, kind of in the ocean. And down we go. So now we get to an interesting part. So we're going to be building some probes to head out to Eve. And I think you'll find this part kind of interesting. Because when it comes to landing on Eve and the big ridiculous mission we're going to send, I'm not going to risk anything to luck. Or at least I'm not going to risk too much to luck. So I'm going to try and scout the landing zones, as best as I can here. All right, that was good. So do we see if we have any stuff here? Nothing really interesting. Alright. So, first thing I'm going to do, we're going to do a double launch. I'm going to send, a dual purpose launch. We're going to send a Talos X at the same time as we send our... Where's our... Oh, not the one I wanted. I'm not going to use this whole mission again. I just want this. No, it's not it. That's what I wanted. All right. So we're going to be constructing some probes up here. Now, the way these are going to work... First thing I want to do... I'm actually going to build the probe down here. Well, no, you know what I'll do? I'll save this as Talos X, and then I'll just start from scratch. Alright, we're going to do a couple of batteries, a probe core. We're going to need a bunch more batteries. We're going to need some communication. Which is going to be a little tall. So I guess I'll have to do a few extra batteries here. I mean, that's fine, because that suits what I'm going to do for the descent anyway, which is a couple of parachutes. Just going to be real nice and simple. Oh, you know what else I was kind of almost forgetting? little extra control. And that'll make more sense in a minute or three. It's going to be too big. I'd hoped those were going to be a little smaller. Yeah, sometimes I'll do this kind of stuff for a probe that's going down into Eve, just to make sure that it like flies straight. Oh, come on. You gonna do that to me? There we go. And almost forgot. When in doubt, throw some RTGs in there. All right. So we're gonna bring a bunch of these little probes with us. Oh, almost forgot something extremely important. Extremely important. No, you know what? It'll be better the other way. Okay. And we'll take... I think there's one of these tanks. Oh, no, I don't have those because it's not... That's right. This isn't the Soviet space program mod. Minor detail. I don't have the right tank. I guess I don't want to have to... I don't want to have to do it this way, but... It's fine. That'll be fine. Okay. And as you can see here, that actually has a fair amount of delta V. So that's not bad. 400 delta V for a little probe like this. And in fact, you know, I could even... I mean, there are ways to make this even more compact. And I have half a mind to do so just to kind of demonstrate, right? Let me just sort of show you what I'm talking about. So we'd build it from the bottom up, and we'd attach through the heat shield. And there's a probe. The only real catch is that we have to... we have to do some RCS in order to give it enough, like, ability to maneuver. And that's not even too bad. So okay, I actually like this one better. And you can even use that with, like, you know, the smaller one. The little smaller one and the smaller heat shield. You can even do it with stuff like that. But I'm not going to bother for this one. I'm going to save this off as a subassembly. Now for Telos X, you can probably already see where I'm going. And what I'll end up doing is I'll detach these individually. And that actually should be a fair amount of... Or are those the right ones? No, they're not. Whoops. Well, that'll be fine. Because they've got the smaller internal diameter anyway. So we'll bring these out to Eve. And I'll do one more up top just for good measure. Yeah, why not? That's fine. Okay. And this mess is what we're going to be sending to Eve. I'm gonna call this an episode, and we'll actually launch this in the next one, and we'll get these probes down on the surface and all of that. So, you know what I'm actually gonna do? Just gonna do some extra antenna stuff while I'm thinking of it. Okay. And that way we'll be able to do some control over these probes. So, all right. So make sure you check out the next episode where we prepare for the landing on Eve. And as always, thanks for watching.